Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and in this video I'm going to be using the two best attackers in the Holiday Cup. According to PvPoke, the best attackers are Diggersby and Wigglytuff. Basically what it means is it has good block, so when you don't have shield and the opponent has shield, you can rely on your bulk and the moveset to deal a lot of damage to your opponent. So according to PvPoke, this team is quite okay. It has average everything. However, in reality, this team went horribly wrong. Let's get into the battles. Okay, Talonflame Mirror, which is really not my favorite matchup because I usually don't bait. However, I found a lot of opponents when they use Talonflame, they do bait, and because I'm not good at playing this bait game, it could put me in a devastating situation sometimes. Here you can see, I call the bait. However, because I used a Brave Bird, so my defense was severely lowered, and the opponent now is terribly buffed. Talonflame with the flame charge buff is just a monster. It does a lot of damage, and when you don't have resistance, it could be devastating. And I'm running Earthquake on my Diggersby for the first battle, and realized that it's probably not the best moveset. Even well, PvPoke said this is the recommended moveset, so for the rest of 4 battles, I switched to Hyper Beam, but it didn't go well either. Now, the opponents used a single Pokemon and 2 shields and pretty much swept my entire team. I know at this point there is pretty much nothing I can do, but I decided to stay in and see what's their last Pokemon. And it turns out we had the exactly same team. Like, I reckon it's really funny that we had the same team, but I was like terribly beaten. There is pretty much nothing I can do. So that's the first battle. Let's move on to the next one. This is definitely not a good lead, so I switched to Wigglytuff. When you have a bad lead, you definitely don't want to switch in the hard counter to the opponent directly, because chances are they do have a answer to your hard counter. So I switched to Wigglytuff, which was taken out, and then I switched in my Diggersby. The opponent kept throwing their rock type moves and then switched in a Frostlass. This is not necessarily good for me, because even though I do have Fire Punch, which does super effective damage to Frostlass, however, Frostlass is super spammy and it does super effective damage to me with its both charged move and fast move. So in even shield situation, it's really not looking that good. The opponent can just keep throwing Avalanche and do a lot of damage to my Talonflame, being it has the Fire Flying typing. Sorry, it takes neutral, and in Great League, Talonflame is really not that bulky. It's kind of on the glassy side. I reckon Talonflame in the Great League is more like a attacker or a charger, which means it has access to good fast move with good energy gain, and it has really powerful charged move. So when it has energy, it can deal a lot of pressure to the opponent. However, it's not defense oriented by any means. And then, as you can see there, I did switch to Hyper Beam. However, Altaria is really bulky, and one Hyper Beam is really far away from KO, so that's that. Now, this looks like an okay matchup, and then you just saw the weak connection and the spinning white ball, which is really not a good sign of a good game. Now, let's see what happens. I reckon in this set, I went 0-5, which does not happen often, but sometimes it happens. So, I reckon like when you go R5, you either have like really bad lead and bad counters, bad switches, or you misplay, or sometimes it just happens. The opponents used a poison fang, just took me out. That's okay. I switched to my digger speed. There was a little bit lag, which was beautiful. I don't know what is going on with the Go Battle League nowadays. Like the lag issue is just really bad, and sometimes I just cannot play due to this issue, and I basically pick the watchable, quote unquote, watchable battles to put on this channel. However, as much as I want to, I still cannot find like a single set without any lags. So that's that. The opponent also has a Venusaur in the back. I reckon Venusaur definitely has a lot of play in this meta. I don't know why like I'm not seeing more Venusaur. It seems like this meta is more fire flying and also more ice and charm oriented. I reckon Venusaur definitely has play with its community move. Frenzy Plants is really strong. And there is pretty much nothing I can do here. I can try to throw a Fire Punch, which I didn't really get to. It was a CMP, I'm guessing. Sorry, and I got took out. So this team on paper looks really nice. However, in reality, I guess the current environment of the meta doesn't really give this team a good time. Being there are a lot of like super powerful ice types. Even if like Frostlass, even if Frostlass has a matchup with Talonflame, Talonflame cannot take out Frostlass without spinning a shield. So that's how strong ice type is in this meta. And because of that, Digger Speed, even though on paper it has good stats and good moveset, but without shield, Digger Speed could have a huge disadvantage against opponents' ice types, as you can see there. The opponent can only just keep throwing Ice Event, which does a lot of damage to my Digger Speed. This particular Digger Speed is not XL, it's a 98%, 50, 40, 15, 15, 40, 15. So it's not necessarily the bulkiest, but it's still usable. So I took out the Dewgong, and the opponent switched back to their Altaria. However, at this point, I have been terribly debuffed. So, as you can see there, the Hyper Beam did a teeny tiny amount of chunk to the Altaria, and even though on paper, Wigglytuff should have okay matchup with the opponent's backline, but I'm just too low at this moment, and Digger Speed was just was taken out by one Shadow Claw. I reckon like this lead is kind of like okay. It's probably not as good as it looks like. On paper, like Talonflame is a flyer, Vigoroth is using counter. It looks kind of okay. However, Vigoroth does have access to Stab Body Slam, which means its Body Slam on Vigoroth has the same type attack bonus. It does a bit more damage compared to a Pokemon who doesn't have a normal typing. So as you can see there, if I definitely want to take out the Vigoroth, I probably need to use a shield. Then the opponent switched to a Dendeni. You know what? I don't have Earthquake on my Digger Speed, so I reckon like the best thing I can do is keep throwing Fire Punch or even farm to Earthquake and bait. The opponent switched to a Frostlass, and I am at a one shield disadvantage, which is really bad for me because Frostlass, even though it's frail, however, with Avalanche it does a lot of damage to my Wigglytuff. Being Wigglytuff doesn't really have a resistance to ice, and then Yeah, let's see how it goes. I think here I made a mistake. Sorry, this was the only battle I could win out of this set. However, I played Tanzania before. I clearly know this charge requires less damage compared to play rough, but however, for some reasons, at that very moment when the opponent throws their charge move, I was like, yeah, both moves require the same amount of energy, so there is no point for the opponents to bait. I don't know why I thought that. Like, I clearly knew I played Dendoni before, and then I didn't shield the bait, so sometimes it just happens. Okay, I guess that's all the battles for today's video. I reckon like in Go Battle League, you definitely need to find your own style and the team that suits you. I've used the worst teams that got me 5-0s. I've used like this team, like on paper it looks really not that bad, but in reality I just cannot pull it off. So I reckon on paper performance is one thing, but your play style and the environment of the meta definitely contributes to your gameplay. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you have a beautiful day. Bye.